Good morning, YouTube Alman. Good morning, hello. Let me know if you can hear me or not. Should be on, so let me see if uh, it should be okay. Should be okay. Yeah. Good morning, good morning. If you're out there, please let me know. I didn't do the countdown today, so while people are getting here, I would like to share. Ohayo gozaimasu, George. All right, I would like to share something, guys. This and this, they are from All Japan Kendo Federation YouTube channel, and that's about the Tsubazeria rules for competition. The reason I'm sharing that with you today is that I went to Shimpan seminar, a referee seminar over the weekend, and we learned this. And it is very different. Now, I believe that the reason they are showing us how to do this is that we are going to possibly, and then I cannot say this for sure, okay, but possibly we will be applying this new regulations, share regulations for all US Kendo championships. So this is very important for everyone to know. All right. So, George, probably you should learn this. And I don't know if you have already applied it, but I think that's I went to the first official referee seminar done by all US after COVID. So, not many people know about it at the moment. Maybe they know about this, but we do have to apply for this. So, please study it if you are not familiar with it. Of course, it depends on the Taikai tournaments. If they want to apply this, if they are applying this new regulations for now, they will. You have to follow it. If they don't, you don't have to worry about this. So depending on tournaments regulations, right? Okay, so the last time I fought this year, specifically I was very confused and awkward. Yes. So gotta study it. Of course, Shimpan has to study it too. So for a while, probably everywhere in the I'm talking about in the States, in the United States of America, we haven't. My federation will go. My federation will do Shiai next month, so we're going to apply this new regulations because of all U.S. Kendo Federation. I'm sure, almost sure they're going to do this. They might not. So we have to know this regulation. So we're going to apply this. It's going to be a chaotic situation. So yeah. All right. Shotokan Karate-do, thank you for being here. Good morning. And yes, so that's that. Now, today's topic, Elman, it's just a little bit of I had a question. No, I received a question from SJMD last time, so I would like to go over it briefly, as I talked about this briefly last time. So can you give tips on how to properly execute basic stances used in kata? And I think that is basic stances in kata. We have chudan, gedan, jodan, hasso, wakigamae, right? And I think what she meant was can we do it in Kendo? Now, let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. So if you have questions, please let me know. All right. And some people, I have a request. Let's talk in more exercises. So if you feel like, if you agree with it, let me know. Okay. So now Jordan is common, not common. Well, you see Jordan now. Jordan in modern Kendo. You see Chudan, of course. Now you see Nito, left Nito, right Nito, right? These three are getting popular stances in Kendo. Now Nito is getting bigger, right? So getting more popular, more people study it. So I think it's a good thing. And yes, so these are three most commonly used. And why not get them? If you think about, so always think about, why we are not using it. As a simple answer is because it's not very effective in modern Kendo. It's not. We cannot do much from Gedan, right? And plus, you're actually opening your throat, man, right? So too risky. What's the difference from Jordan, ski and do, kote, right? It's quite wide open, but advantage is you can strike like one hand from the far distance, okay? And your hands are already up here. What do you have to do to strike? Drop your sword down, right? So there are advantages in Jordan. Gedan, what's the advantage? If you think like that, what's the advantage of Gedan? Not much, right? You can strike kote like this, pong, but it's too obvious. You can strike men like this, but Chudan versus Gedan. Who's going to strike men faster? Right? It's already here. You're going boom like that versus boom like this. Okay? So there are advantages, disadvantages. Why people don't take Gedan in modern Kendo? More disadvantages than advantage, right? So that's the reason you don't see Gedan in modern Kendo, almost none at all, right? But you can go like this from Chudan and to make your opponent surprise. Okay, that is one of 4 sicknesses. So you go, yes, you can do that. Or so lower your sword like this. That you see that often. Is it Gedan stance? Probably not. Okay, but keeping Gedan like this against Chudan or Jordan, okay, it's probably effective for a while, but keeping your sword down here, I don't see much advantage. Of course, if you practice it, if you become expert in Gedan, it's a different story, right? But I don't really see any advantages at the moment. Okay, is Gedan useful when fighting against Naginata? Yeah, that's what we always take, Naginata. Against Naginata, Naginata is this one, and they strike your shin as well. So in that case, Gedan, because shin is their probably main target. Of course, they strike man, ton, ski as well, pan. So going against Naginata, us, we are not used to protecting shin. Even that we have a shin guard going against Naginata. So, but Kendo people are not very used to getting hit on shin, right? So this is the good tactics. And you're getting really quickly close the distance. So, they are long. When we close the distance, they have to go backwards to strike, and they have to. If we get closer, we are faster than them, theoretically. Okay, but you have to be careful. They can go from here. They can go boom, skill like this, like that. So they're longer, mind you. They're longer, so they can skip from the far distance. That's what you have to be careful. Men, you can kind of see, so you can what do you call it? Different parry, or you can block their main strike. I don't say easily because you're focusing on protecting your shin. So make sure they are capable of many things, especially skis. When they get closer, they're going to strike you not only with the blade part of the naginata, the other side, they will strike you with the other side, Ishizuki part, and then they go like this. So I really don't like to fight against naginata because the naginata is a vicious weapon, man. So, but it's fun to fight because it's all, it's fun to fight with different type of martial arts, of course. So it is commonly used, geta. Now, hustle, for example, like I talked briefly about from Jordan, and they sometimes go down like this, and they go like that. So you can see, if you say, is it the hustle no kamae, briefly going down, yeah, maybe not. It depends on how you look at it. I saw when I was a kid, there was a sensei taking hustle like this and striking tong like that. And if you remember this sensei going against Toda sensei's Nito and Kyoto Taikai, there's a video. One sensei took hustle like this, and he was going tong like that. I would say, why not? Okay, so if you're going against, for example, Jordan, some sensei takes hidari katate Jordan, migi katate Jordan like this. Strike. If you're capable of doing that, I think you should do it. This is the standard kamae for against Jordan, right? Some sensei does this, right, like this. This is difficult to strike, tong like that. But if you practice it and you become expert of it, you will be able to do that, right? So I wouldn't say, don't do it. But hustle is probably okay. But remind you, if you have your left hand above your chest height or chest, this is okay. They're going to strike your left hand, and it's okay to, in the tournament, it will be a point. Here, you can't. One, it's hard to strike left hand kote when people are in Shudan, right? But if you go like this, they will strike your kote, left kote, and then it become a point. So you got to be careful in tournament, all right? Of course, in training, I don't want to say this, but in training, unless it's dangerous, they will strike you, right? They will strike. You can strike. If it's the opening, you should be able to strike it. So if you go to tournament, there's a rule. And if training, like striking left quarter here, it's dangerous. Dangerous to you and to me as well, to your opponent as well. So I don't think you should. Someone strike kote like that, and if I'm going for men and he misses strike kote, it will come to this part, right? Of course, we have protectors around here, but it doesn't mean you should be doing it. You should be careful. If you cannot control sword, you shouldn't be do that. So safety issue plus in Kendo like this, it's hard to strike. Rule wise, it's not going to be a valid cut, even if your shinai land here beautifully. No. Okay, so you should remember that. And if you have questions, I'm gonna go back to your question, right? And hasso wakigamae is totally disadvantageous, right? Against chudan or jodan or whatever. Okay, so this from here, usually you go up like this. Where are you gonna maybe door strike? You can strike door like like that. That's all about it, right? From hustle. So you can't really execute effective strike in modern Kendo from hustle. I have seen Ethan Sensei taking wakigamae in training against Jordan Sensei. I don't know. He was like, he did execute door strike beautifully, but in Shiai, is it effective? I don't think so. So you got to think about, there is a technique like this. Again, if you can do this beautifully against any kamae, I think it's why not. But probably only thing you can do is come on, strike my man, and then you go strike door like this, right? Is it effective? I would say no. Can you do it? Yes. You are allowed to do this? Yes. But I don't see any points taking wakigamae in modern Kendo. So again, if you want to play around a little bit with your Kendo mates and see how it goes, I think it's, if you got to do it, you got to do it. So play around a little bit. But from my perspectives, hasso is all right. Wakigamae is totally disadvantageous. Gedan, I don't see much point of taking Gedan against Kendo, right? If you go against Naginata, Gedan is effective. And also going against some kind of other martial arts, for example, maybe, some other different type of kamae is advantageous. I don't know, but you have to think like that. Again, Kenjutsu and Kendo are under same category, under same umbrella, right? But you're going to remember it's different types of movement. And aim is different, right? We are going to strike targets. We have targets, right? Determined targets. Men, kote, do, tsuki. Kenjutsu, it doesn't matter where you're going to strike. You cut, all right? You got to cut. Wherever you can cut. So basically in Kendo, we hit targets. Kenjutsu, you have to avoid protectors. That's why you have to go for neck, somewhere it's open, right? For example, just in battlefield, you have helmet, samurai helmet, right? Yoroi, yoroi protectors. And you've seen yoroi with a mask on like this. But you have to see, so you have this much open. Okay, so where are you going to try to stab? This much, right? Right? You're going to stab here if you want to kill him or hurt him. You're not going to attack on the protectors. It's not effective. So it depends on what you're doing. And apparently sashiman, which is bad strike in Kendo, right? By the way, sashimen and small men strikes are different. In my days, when I was young, Okay, sashimi was bad because sashimi was like this kind of men strike, stabbing men, but it's effective. Apparently, it's from stabbing face, like that, right? So because this much is open, so you have to stab this open area, right? So apparently, sashimi came from that. But sashimi in the modern kendo, it used to be, I don't know now anymore, because people think small men strike is called sashimi, which was different from my age for my generation. Sashimi was you don't lift up your shinai much, you just go to get a point in shiai. And a lot of older senses says that's sashimi. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be lift up, come down. All right. So I don't know what you guys call small men strike at your dojo. If you call them sashimi, that's fine. I think different. As I'm old now, so if you guys are using the term for small men strike, I think that's fine. But I don't use that term because of how I learned kendo. So, okay, sensei, how to deal with the intentional perfection while practicing these stances technique? I don't know. I don't understand what it means. Okay, how to deal with the intention of perfection while practicing these stances and techniques? So you got a intention of perfection while practicing these stances and techniques. You gotta explain it more. Sorry, Alman. Okay. Steve from Australia. Would you call the small man strike in Japanese then? This is Oki men, right? Small men, chisai men. Small men, chisai men. So at my dojo, when I was a kid, I showman which hajime don, right? And then the shihan of the dojo, headmaster goes hit the Japanese taiko, and all key men, basic men strike. Chisai men which 5 times, so small men strike. That was the term. Small men, literally it was small men, chisai men which. Okay. I don't know why sashimi. Probably chisai men is too much for non-Japanese speakers. Probably that's why maybe sashimi became the term they use. Like you guys call gi, right? Keikogi, gi. In Japan, we don't call it gi. We call it keikogi. Keikogi hakama. So you're welcome, Steve. So there's a lot of things different, like bokuto, bokken. Right? In Japan, we use bokuto more than bokken. I'm talking about kendo world. I don't know any other martial arts. Bokuto is what I use, and probably that's most commonly used in Japan, in kendo world. But outside Japan, bokken is much more common, I think. So things are a bit different, outside Japan, inside Japan, how they imported kendo, well, exported kendo outside Japan or imported kendo, how brought kendo into your country probably is different, right? So I cannot speak for all of the kendo terms because I'm from Kansai area, Osaka area. Tokyo is different too. It used to be Tokyo Kendo and Osaka Kendo, they're different because of the dojo size. Tokyo, they didn't have big dojos, so their distance Mai is closer. But Kansai is Osaka area. Our distance is a little bit further because we had bigger dojo, something like that. It's a long time ago. I don't know for sure, but that's what I learned. That's what I heard. So probably that's why. Okay, so if you have more questions, let me know. And what's the time? It's 5 more minutes. So if you want me to go over something else, please let me know. Did I go over all the questions? Oh, is it called kobushi? Hang on. Kobushi, good one. Okay, kobushi means fist. Okay, kobushi means fist. Here. Now, in Kendo, kobushi is not ippon. It's not kote. Kote is this tsutsu area. Tsutsu. This area is kote. Kote ari, right? Kote ari. On here, it's a gray zone, isn't it? On here, it's gray zone. But usually, kobushi is not the kote area. Kobushi is the fist. So that's a good question, Steve. Thank you. Okay, did I go over all the questions? We don't have many people today, so but before you go, hit the like button. If you're here, like button. Please make sure you do that. Please make it your habit. Okay? Okay, if you don't have any more questions, Alvin, okay, quick question. Okay, quick question. Steve, what's the difference between uchikomi geiko and kakari geiko in terms of when you open for opponent? I recently heard something that, okay, uchikomi geiko. Uchikomi is literally means striking. Uchi is striking. Komu is going for it. So uchikomi geiko is, man, usually it's big strike, usually. I'm talking about what I learned, okay? I don't know if a lot of terms, if you go to university, they have their own terms for their training methods. So I don't know. At my dojo, uchikomi geiko is big strikes, and Motodachi is in charge. So what that means is Motodachi open, nice and big. Okay, now just kote, man, tai, do strike. So uchikomi is striking practice oriented by Motodachi. Okay, Motodachi in charge. Okay, kakari geiko. Kakari is attacking, right? So kakari geiko is kakarite oriented. So kakarite is, I wouldn't say in charge, but Motodachi don't necessarily open the targets. So kakarite goes just going for it. Okay, so when you see opening, which is quite unlikely, you just go just going for just go nuts. Smaller strikes, kakari geiko, smaller strikes, and you just go for it. Sometimes Motodachi open up, very subtle opening, and kakari will fight you back as well. They go men kaishi, men suriyage men, kote suriyage kote, men kaishi do. But kakari, that you don't worry about it. You just go for it, go nuts. Certain amount of time, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, or until Motodachi says, yame, all right, that's enough. You just go nuts. All right, and that's kakari geiko. So uchikomi geiko is basic, nice and big. Right, and Motodachi initiate openings and let kakari practice the basic stance. So it's, if you look at uchikomi geiko, is still part of basic keiko. Okay, but uchikomi means committing to strikes. So you just go, if you see opening, you just strike, nice and good posture. right? Uchikon geiko. Kakari geiko, you just go nuts, go crazy. And then Motodachi goes, all right, come go, pass through quicker time. They push you back, right? Because you get too close, you start hitting like we call it chicken fight, right? You don't move, just stay where you are and striking crazy. And then Motodachi might say, come on, go pass through. And then you go, so that is Kakari Geiko, which people don't like. Okay. Okay, so, oh, no problem, Steve. I think it's clear. I hope it's clear things up for you. All right. Okay. So, what works best, blocks or deflection? What works best? Best blocks and deflection? Is that what you're asking? Let's go to my big arm, Michael. When I fight in Shia, I treat the path from Tsuba to my big arm as my kote. I treat the path from Tsuba to my big arm as my, oh, yeah, okay. In Shia, right? Yeah. It depends. You don't want to. I treat the path from my Tsuba. Oh. Did you say the same thing? Right. Okay. So, when swords clash, how to avoid getting cut while cutting the opponent at the same time? How to avoid getting cut? You have to cut them first, right? And by the way, if your opponent, we have the technique called kiriotoshi, when your opponent is coming down, right? Coming down your man, and you go, boom, strike. Deflect your opponent's man coming through your head with a just strike, that. It's the most difficult thing ever. And you can do that, okay? So I think, Alman, you're more like towards kenjutsu rather than kendo. So it's hard for me to answer your questions because it's two different movements. So if you want more clearly explain what the kind of question you want to ask, like kendo, we do have kiriotoshi and uchiotoshi. Such before they cut you deal with your opponent's sword. Okay, deflect the direction of the sword so they won't touch your body. There are a lot of things like that. Okay, so it is possible. Okay, and it's hard to explain because I don't have an opponent. Right, so uchiotoshi and as well. So yeah, is that the one? Yeah. If you're talking about real situation, it's just first glance is not done. Okay, first land, if they touch your body, they win. You can't do much unless, of course, if you have if you still live and then have guts to fight against your opponent while you're hurt, of course, you can take your opponent with you, but what best? If you're talking about kendo, we have a lot of waza for that. Okay, we don't teach blocks because it's human nature. You can block any strikes. Okay, best blocks is you can turn blocks into your strike. Okay, that's why we have bunch of techniques like that. 小手すり上げ、すり上げ技、返し技, and nuki waza is not deflect, but it's not block either. What else? Well, it's counterattack, so probably two major categories, suriyage waza, kaishi waza. Okay, we'd have amashi waza, nuki waza, which they don't touch your body. So that's probably, doesn't fall into blocks or deflection. So I don't include that to your the answer to your questions. But what else? Yeah, makiwaza. Well, it's not blocking or deflection either. So kaishiwaza, suriyagi-waza. So if two categories. All right. So if you there's a technique. There's a technique that you hit your opponent's sword and drop it, and yeah, it does work in Kendo. We call it uchiotoshi or harai waza. Again, Alman, we are from Kenjutsu, so we have techniques. We do it differently because we use different weapons. Katana and shinai. Shinai is imitation of katana, but again, we do things differently. But techniques are from Kenjutsu. Of course, some techniques don't work in Kendo. Some and most majority works. But majority works. So, I will remind you again that Kenjutsu, Kendo, different under different umbrella, different techniques do exist. But basically, we're the same, and we can use Kenjutsu techniques in Kendo. A lot of sensei do that, to be honest with you. But again, there are differences as well. So you got to know these things. All right. I remember the video, a Kendo guy for Kenjutsu guy. He said Kenjutsu do not swing around as much as Kendo. That's how you look at it. 8,000 sensei don't really swing, don't do this, right? Okay, guys. So a lot of sensei says, have Seme, right? Why do you think is that? All right. Why do you think we need to have Seme? Don't strike that quickly. Why do you think? Because if it's a real blade, you just go in too quickly. You're asking your partner, your opponent to kill you, right? So imagine this is a real sword and you go, okay. You have to increase your percentage of survival. That's why you have to make sure you win first and then strike. All right. So Kendo has that taste as well. That's why a lot of sensei says, before you strike, that's Kendo part. After you strike, you have to have Zanshin. Shh. Okay. And Maeda Sensei said that as well over the weekend. Maeda Sensei is U.S. Kendo Federation president now. Before strike, it's Kendo. And after you strike, Zanshin, that's Kendo as well. Striking part, he said, whatever that you want to name it. Right? And I said, well, it's just exercise, isn't it? And okay. And then Zanshin. So that is hitting part is kind of you're proving, okay, I did it right. That was a good timing. That was a good opportunity to strike. Okay, I did things correctly. Okay, now I know. And then your opponent thinks, okay, that was, I got hit. Thank you very much for hitting me. I will improve my Kendo. That's it. Okay, so remember, if you do Kendo and if you get older, you have that kind of sense, okay? Because again, as you get older, as you get more advanced, it's not easy to land on targets, right? We all know that. That's why you have to have a good Seme, which is creating pressure. Why do we put pressure on your opponent? To make an opening, right? And then what's Tame? Tame is put more pressure, okay? This is probably not good enough because your opponent is better, right? I'm going, but I'm not going quite yet. I'm gonna go. When you think you're gonna move, when your brain sends signal, I'll go. That's Tame, right? So I want you to remember the nature of Kendo is, of course, from Kenjutsu, right? Samurai combat system. That's why you don't want to strike. And again, we have phases. When you're young, you should strike a lot. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. As you get older, you have to start understanding, you have to start understanding understand what you should be doing. You just don't strike because your opponent gets, if you see openings, you should strike. But if you don't, that means you shouldn't go, right? So that's the nature, isn't it? What's that? There's a technique that hit your opponent. Yeah, it works. It's a different purpose. In Kenjutsu, we never stop when hitting our opponent. Different purpose. In Kenjutsu, we never stop when hitting our opponent. I think you should stop when you land your opponent. Bam, like this. He's dead. So once you know he's dead, you should be stopping. I don't think it's a good idea to stab it. Start keep cutting a corpse. Pressure opponent, yes, sir. Oh, Morocco, hello. Restoration time. Steve, pressure opponent. Okay. Oxidio Vivo. Your last video about being a Motodachi to beginners was very helpful. Do you have any other tips on how to be a better Motodachi easily during Jigeko? Okay. What's this? What about Ishidora? Is that Japanese or I don't recognize it as English. So Ishidora? Sorry, Yossi. I don't understand what that is. So okay. Being good Motodachi. Okay, let's talk about it briefly. Not briefly. I'll talk about this and then let's finish up. Okay. Now, for beginners, you have to have purpose too. Now, Motodachi, what the purpose of Motodachi is train your opponent, right? Kakarite. Okay, so if you're Motodachi, you have to be good Motodachi. That means you have to measure the distance. You have to make sure your partner can train to improve their kendo. That's the purpose of Motodachi. It's not hidden dummy. And also, let's say if you during Jigeko, if you are going against lower rank people, right? And you have to have purpose. I want him or her to understand, let's say, good opportunity. So you have to create good opportunity for them, okay? And then, okay, I want to make sure they're gonna strike when I go in to strike. So, do they strike you or not? And if they didn't, come on, that's the time you have to strike. Quick feedback. Okay, let's try again. That's good, right? Okay, now let's focus on debanakote, for example. And then they strike or not. So you have to provide opportunity to strike, if that's the goal for you to provide a good training for your partner, okay? Or okay, let's learn distance today, all right? You're getting. If your opponent, your lower ranked person, let you get in too close, you're gonna say it's too close. Okay, you got to do something before I get that close. Okay, and so if you have certain, you gotta have to have certain goal for yourself. Okay, I want you to work on this. Now you can tell them first. Okay, I want you to work on your distance. So you're gonna do something when I get to your distance. Okay, or striking distance. You got to do something. Well, before I get into your striking distance, you got to do something. Okay, what's something? Let them think about it. All right, let them think about it. You can tell them, but if you tell them, probably they just do only one thing. If that's the purpose, that's fine. Okay, let's focus on before I get into your striking distance, deflect my kensaki or something. Okay, if that's the goal, just let them do one thing. Okay, and then as soon as before I get into your striking distance, deflect do osai on my kensaki, and then by doing so, have your right foot forward, and then you are in your striking distance. Strike man. Okay? So if you have to have purpose as well in Jigeko. What do you want your partner to learn, especially your lower ranked students? So you gotta have to have purpose and mutual understanding there. You don't have to tell them, if it depends on their abilities again. So you have to be, if you want to be a good Motodachi, you have to understand the abilities of your partner, and you have to decide what you want them to work on. All right, I think that's a very important part. All right, okay. Jitsu, Iaijutsu. Is that Iaijutsu? I'm sorry, Yoshi. You gotta give me the specific. I think you meant Iaijutsu, right? What are the training methods in solo training to practice timing while swinging shinai? What steps are done fast? Okay, now Alman, you have a lot of questions, so I am going to answer your this one. I think I told you about. I talked about mental training, imagination training. Watch video, imagine. That's the only way you can do timing practice. You have to have a partner. So you have to grab someone and then just make them move. And as soon as they make move, you strike. So that's kind of you can do that kind of training. Now, of course, it is dangerous to do. Okay, so you gotta be careful if you just want to do that. Okay, side steps. How side steps are done fast. Side steps, right? Done fast. It's in Kendo. Okay, in Kendo, definition of speed is a bit different. In Kendo, like if you have an opponent like judo, boxing, these going against a person, speed is different, has different definition because it's relative. If your opponent thinks you are fast, you're fast. If your opponent thinks you're slow, you're slow. And it depends on timing. uh, your opponent might think you're fast. Like I'm not that fast, okay? And some people say, "Oh, you're fast." Maybe they think I was fast because of the timing. They couldn't do what they wanted to do, and they thought, "Oh, you're fast." But I'm not fast to a lot of people, I think. If I'm fast, I can beat a lot of people, right? But it doesn't work like that. So again, side steps, it doesn't matter you move like really fast. It's relative. So its timing is important as well, you know? So that's why um, it's important for you to train, if it's relative, like absolute speed, like that, is it fast? I don't know. You can train like this. That's what solo training means, right? And then you go against a partner, and then you can check your own speed. Does it work? It doesn't work. That's why it's relative. We have to have a partner. Again, you can train yourself, and then you have to check it, right? You have to get someone to check it. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? And then you have to test it. So does it work? It doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? Or because the timing is wrong, right? So that's very important to do. Yoshi, okay, I'm sorry, mate. That's what keyboard makes. I'm sorry. If it's EA Jutsu, I don't know what you want to know about EA Jutsu. But yeah. Okay, thanks so much for these sessions. It gives a way to ask questions we wouldn't be comfortable asking otherwise. No problems. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I'm going to let you go because it's been 50 minutes. All right. So, Marisol Barquero. Good vibes. Thank you. So, again, guys, Kendo, yes, it's different from Kenjutsu, but we are same umbrella. Remember that, and then we have different things as well. Remember that. Maybe it's hard if you haven't done both, or if you haven't done one thing long enough to understand what's the differences, what's the similarities. If you don't see it as the same umbrella, probably you never see it. You never see the similarities. But to me, we're under the same umbrella, and then we are differently. We share the blood. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session. Again, we didn't have much training. I'm sorry if you're here for training, but I think these questions are very important for them to know some answers from my perspectives, and probably different people, different generations have different perspectives. So I'll leave it to these generations. My generation, at least at my dojo, the answers are what I gave you today. So I hope it helps with your Kendo study and improvement. And I will definitely see you on Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And I'll see you then. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good morning. Have a good evening. Everyone, thank you very much for coming here from all over the world. Thank you. Bye.